Welcome to Digimon.
Hello and welcome to Digimon, and you might be wondering why I'm here, because usually we just jump straight into the deck profile for the Jank Tank champion. However, a little PSA, we actually decided post filming the deck profile to also share a segment afterwards where we look at the deck outside of the parameters of Jank Tank. So first thing that will happen is you're going to be having a little segment looking at the deck as it was in Jank Tank. And then afterwards, I will be back to take us through the list as it is outside of Jank Tank. But anyways, let's go back to the newly crowned winner of Jank Tank 9 right after the tournament and take it over to Dan. Take it away, Dan, in the past.
Hello and welcome to Digimon and welcome to our winning deck for Jank Tank 9. Holy shit, it was the deck that could against at least one of the decks that we were really worried about in this tournament. So, Dan, I'm assuming you're absolutely ecstatic.
Absolutely.
That your deck is now banned.
That's all the trade-off winning deck, but it's you can't help but take a bit of pride of getting a deck back.
Yes, yeah, you've got to take it. And the thing is, that means we've now got it will return at the end of the year in the Champions Tourney. So yeah, and it looks like a really fun list. And hopefully you guys enjoy it. Like, subscribe, and ding that notification bell. And Dan, I'll leave it to you.
So I'm going to jump into it. It's Beardy Dan. You definitely would have heard of me for some of the deck profiles. And this is one of those decks that, let's be honest, none of us really saw this coming for the win, which I take great pride in. But we'll break it down a bit. So we start out with, we are playing a fair bit of red. So we're going to start out with the Kuromon egg. And it's just really, really simple. You check your security, you get a draw from it. It just helps you with a little bit of consistency. Then the first part of our package is the first of our Systemons, where we run 3 of Systemons blank. The Systemon's really simple. You trash 1, you draw 2. When we get to our level 6s, the GANKOOMONs, they are perfect to put the X's in trash. Giving us the draw is absolutely amazing. And the decoy really, really helps out the rest of it as well, keeping your pieces alive. Next up, we have 3 more Systemon blanks. This one just gives us a flat draw on without having to trash. I was tempted to buff the previous one up to 4, but what I found was just that sometimes you don't want to be trashing a piece. Also, giving us blocker until we get to our level 6s is also pretty handy as well. Next up, the Systemon blank Awakened. She absolutely saved my bacon on more than one occasion. You get to play her from hand, and you'll see when we reach our tamers, we've got a way to cheat her out. But she immediately lets us put one of our Systemons back underneath her, recovery 1, which keeps our security nice and healthy. And then on top of that, when she dies, we get to return one of our Systemons back to the hand, which again, combined with when we reach our tamers, you'll see it just lets us keep that cycle out. The big strength from these Systemons in particular is the amount of draw power they give us is absolutely fantastic. On that note, we do also have a couple other support for the sisters, which is the brand new Shakamon from BT20. Again, we trash 1, we draw 1, we gain a memory, we can trash a Shakamon or a Systemon. As we can play back some of our Systemon with our Awakens, again, they're pretty good trash fodder to get that drawing and that memory off, and we can always steal them back later on. I still was a little bit worried about consistency, so I added in the classic BT6 Shakamon, arguably still one of the best searches in the game. We dig for 5, we get to pick 2 of any of our pieces. The only bit we miss on this is our tamers, unfortunately, but for getting the pieces in hand, it's more than useful. In a similar vein, we then move on to our Systemon seals. So these are our level 4 ones. It's important to note that our options and tamers can't play these ones out, but their effects are still fantastic in their own right. In a similar vein to the Blancs, all 3 of these give us a form of drawing or a form of protection. In the case of this Systemon CL, the flat plus 2k just allows us to block with a bit more confidence, and getting a memory back, especially when combined with the previous Shakamon, actually makes it very, very cheap to play out. This one giving reboot to everyone is pretty handy, but more importantly, it gives us that search where we get to dig for 3, and again, the pieces we put in trash, we're generally able to take those back later on. And then the second Awakened also proved invaluable. The fact that what you get to do is you can play it on its own for a cheap cost in some cases, but just suspending making more your opponents so they can't suspend is incredibly important for buying your time. Also, if you do play her on top of one of your system on seals, at the end of turn, you effectively get to recover into there, and then when they check it will go back into security, and its trashing effect to play any of your system ones out, and Digimon on top of the seal lets you keep it in play quite regularly. We then have 4 of the BT20 Bell Huckman. This one is incredibly important for playing out our Gankoos, but also it allows us to play our Systemons for 2 costs less. So we can either play out another rush body very cheap, or we can bring out our big plays. We'll get into now. Gankoo is absolutely fantastic. If you've been looking at any Jesmon stuff, you will have come across what he does. But fundamentally, we can play him out for either 6 cost or 8 cost, depending if we use our Bow Huckmon or our Gankoo. And on play, he gets the Digivolve for free into our next card. Gankoo X Antibody. Now, we play 3 of the new BT21 and 1 of the X Antibody. The new GANKOOMON on Digivolve, you get to Digivolve 2 of your opponent's Digimon. And then until the end of the turn, you are immune to all your Digimon are immune to your opponent's Digimon effects. That on its own is incredibly valuable. But on top of that, during your opponent's turn, it makes everything a reboot or blocker. So you've built your security up using some of your Systemons, you've drawn everything you need in hand, and then when this guy comes out, it's when you're ready to start swinging back into their security and taking it out. The older Gankoo X Antibody comes out on its own because it gets to play a Systemon out for cheap. This allows us to, if we're doing it in our turn, trigger one of our tamers you'll see in a moment to give it rush, which can gain to be an extra swing that comes out of nowhere. On top of that, it still gives us some protection in that we can't be returned to hands or decks, and we can't have our DP reduced. I run out of one because I found just every now and again it comes up as useful. The other X Antibody is generally more useful most of the time. But all of them have fantastic use in our 3 GX aces. This was a last minute trade where I had it at 2 and I bumped it up to 3. The reason being this card is so good, and not gonna lie, I was feeling a little bit scared of some of the other decks we had in this particular Jank Tank. But for those of you that don't know what he does yet, on play, when Digivolving, when attacking, you get to take any of your Royal Knights, so in this case the GANKOOMONs, from either your hand or your trash. It would 9 times out of 10 be from trash because you trashed them earlier in the game. You slide it under, it deletes, normally it's a 16k. And then when attacking, you get to swing. For every 2 Royal Knights underneath him, you can trash one, and you get to unsuspend on top of that. The beauty of this card is it gave the deck much needed aggression. Your system ones will let you recover out, your Gankoo ones will let everything from dying, and the GX is the final key to give us some really solid aggression to the deck. On top of that, we then come into a couple options. So, first we run Wonder Stump, which is a surprise use of the card. The slight downside in this deck, you've got to have one of your tamers in play to be able to use it, but you immediately get to draw one, and then you can play out one of your Systemons, all of which to give you a draw. This card is so good for quickly filling your hand, and again, getting to all the pieces that you want. Then we run, the last bit of our deck are our tamers. So we run 2 of this Orisa, which is our memory setter, going for free, and then when you play a puppet, you can give it rush. It came up once or twice. I definitely wouldn't run it any less than 2, and the rush every now and again gives you that extra check. But far more valuable is our 3 cost Orisa. What this one does is start of turn, you'll get 1 memory throw when your opponent has a Digimon. But far more importantly, when one of your Systemon dies, you get to play out a level 3 Systemon back from it, because they all have the puppet trait. This particularly came up with using the Systemon Awakened, where I would swing out, let it die naturally, play out what would normally be a 5 cost for free from my hand, chuck a Systemon underneath, recover 1, and when that Systemon dies, you can either play it again with another Orisa, or just cheat a Systemon back into your hands. Absolutely fantastic. If I was going to pick a card that saved my bacon the most, this would definitely be it. And that is fairly rapid fire, is the deck profile. If you've got any questions, I'll be around in the comments below, so drop us a comment and let us know what you think. And I'll be honest, let us know if this was your who your bet to win the tournament was. Cheers, guys. Keep it digital.
Hello, as you can see, different shirt because I actually originally did the outro in the same shirt as I was at the beginning of this video, but then Dan sent me an even more updated version of the list for outside of Jank Tank use, and this is it here. And as you can see, if you know your Jank Tank rulings, there is definitely a card which can't be used inside of Jank Tank because it is actually banned from Jank Tank. But taking a look at the list, at first glance you might be thinking it's not that different apart from one glaring issue which we'll get to, but everything else is basically just we're fine-tuning some of the ratios, taking out the Wonder Stomp just because I think Dan found he just didn't need it anymore. We've also gone from kind of one of the BT10 GANKOOMON X to just 4 of the BT20 ones, so taking this from 3 and bumping it up to 4. I feel like there's another additional copy of the Just One GX as well. I probably should have looked properly, but essentially you've got a little bit more fine-tuning on the ratios. Rookie ratios are the same, are all across the board. But the main glaring thing, of course, in this list is you know, Medieval Gallantmon is the boogeyman of the Digimon TCG right now. And of course, this guy is kind of bonkers in a list like this, because whether or not you know, if he's on the board. Obviously you've got you go mega wide with this, so you can suspend stuff to reduce his cost really easily, even if your opponent hasn't gone wide. His effect will trigger all turns when you're playing stuff out, so that will be when, you know, he's playing himself out. It will be if he's digivolving, because there is now a level 5 in this list. The Saviour Huckmon from BT20 is in the list now. He doesn't count as a Royal Knight, so you wouldn't get an inheritable off of this, but you could potentially digivolve off of this for 3 cost. You know, it's also quite scarily as well, is if something gets played on your opponent's turn, which, bearing in mind, your Systemons, if they get deleted, your Orisas can essentially replace them and play something out. This will then trigger, thus deleting their stuff. So it's really terrifying. I don't believe this does get blocker from the Gankoo X, because all of the Digimon was Systemon or Huckmon in the names, or the Royal Knight trait, yeah. So this does not get blocker, thankfully. But this is still an incredibly powerful card in a list like this, and is really going to make it a lot more potent. In terms of other changes as well, like I mentioned, we've got the Saviour Huckmon, just so we've got a level 5 in this list. It's only one level 5, but the whole point of this list is not really to have level 5s. Obviously you can. Both of these can digivolve on top of it. This can digivolve on top of it as well. But, you know, the main point of this is more to be, you know, just an additional target for either GANKOOMON to digivolve the Bao Huckmon into, or, you know, just something to digivolve on top of, and give you a bit more of a stack. The Alliance is really nice as well. Obviously, both of these are Royal Knights, as is the Just One GX, so it is going to give that Alliance inheritable. As for the rest of the effect, the on-play and when digivolving effect does help just delete certain things. So, for example, something that could really hurt Dan's deck is something that maybe stops them being, you know, stops Digimon being played by effects, or stops the reduction of play cost. You know, those kind of floodgate effects. And at least, you know, by having this Saviour Huckmon, as well as also the Medieval Gallantmon as well, you've got another way of being able to deal with those floodgates. The end of turn effect as well can also be quite cool as well. By suspending one of your other Digimon, this Digimon may digivolve into a Digimon card with just one in its name in the hand without paying the cost. So it just means you can immediately digivolve one of your GANKOOMONs into your Just One GX. Apologies. Into your Just One GX for, you know, for no cost at all at the end of the turn. So that is really, really cool. But that is kind of the list itself. I hope you guys really enjoyed Jank Tank 9 this time around. Definitely some of the games of all time, some of the most entertaining ones, but definitely some of the games in terms of skill. A lot of misplays in this tournament, let's be honest, let's be real. And obviously, you know, if there are any issues you guys take with those misplays or anything like that, just let us know. Obviously, sometimes with live tournaments it can't be dealt with, and unfortunately when it comes to Jank Tank, it's one of those things where we can't really just kind of go, oh yeah, and we're not showing that one. We kind of, if we filmed it, and that's kind of what we got to go with. You know, otherwise it's going to be, you know, sorting out a new day, and it's very hard to balance around everyone's schedules. Unfortunately, we're not a Hollywood set. We don't get to just kind of choose how things happen. So I hope you guys don't mind the misplays. But either way, I think a really entertaining tournament this time around. And I can't wait until Jank Tank 10, whenever we do that. Most likely going to be in June. And obviously keep an eye out for when we next do the tier list for the BT21 format. And let me know again, guys, in the comments, you know, if you guys want to do that before BT21 comes out, so we're all kind of going in blind, or oppositely, if you would rather have BT21 around for a little bit so that we can then, you know, see what decks are looking like. I mean, I can see advantages and disadvantages to both. Obviously, if we do the latter, then that means we're going to have a bit more of an idea of how these decks perform. If we do the former, that's much better in terms of scheduling stuff on the channel, and things will be in less of a kind of a tight window, I'll be honest. But, you know, let us know either way what you guys want to do, and obviously myself and the team will have a chat about it as well and see how we want to go about things. Who knows, maybe we do like a tier list stream or something like that. That'd be fun. Let me know if you want to see that. Why not? But anyways, like, subscribe, and ding that notification bell so you don't miss out on the next Jank Tank tourney, whenever that may be, and we will catch you in the next video. But until then, keep it digital.